All right, everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Sunday Night Live, and we are here live, that is for sure. Friday, it was strange, absolutely strange. About 2 o'clock, I started feeling woozy. By 3 o'clock, I was exhausted, nauseated, and sleepy. I slept from like 3:15 to 6:30 Eastern time. It was the oddest thing, and then I was fine. Okay, well, shit, here I am. I had a semi-restful weekend, lots to talk about, lots of things going on, but I couldn't wait to get back here and actually have really good topics to go over with you guys. It is Sunday Night Live. Let's go through this. Christina, Bucky, Frog, Tri-Hop, Mikey, Matt, Jason. We got a bunch of people here. Heidi. Holy cow, Trucker Hershey, Sojourner's Truth. We got a great crowd. Doug Bauer, grabbing gears. Hillbilly, Marco, good crowd, everyone. What I need from you guys, right up top, we have an internet address, a URL. Share that with friends, family, loved ones, neighbors, even people you hate, just to piss them off, right? Just to piss them off. Village Idiots checking in, and everyone else. Let's get into it. I got a lot to talk about. We got some great starters. Where is it? Oh yeah. Very important. Bottle of scotch. Always important to have that. And of course, my Marine Corps 250th anniversary shot glass, courtesy of www.pewter.com, Pewter. Well, I'm going to start right out by pouring the scotch to start off with you guys. I need some liquid medication here. Got Christina Thompson checking in. Great. G-Man, you got it. This is Sunday Night Live, folks. Right up here, we got a super chat button that gets you on the screen with comments, kind of like, well, this is my favorite comment, thepreparedmind.club, our website for getting all things prepared. Food. You need food for survival, you need a subscriber and wait 5 minutes before you can comment. It's just one of those things that Ooman started with me. Well, this basin. And it's lower and lower and lower and lower. Now, let me give you an idea how long it takes to either rise or fall. I was at Lake Mead back in 2013 or 14. And it was pretty low. We haven't gotten it filled up. So Darcy, raises this question. Why aren't we using geoengineering? Weather control, weather enhancement. She says, we already know that China has successfully created artificial rainfall to address a drought situation as recently as 2022. And some Middle Eastern countries have done the same, like the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Iran. Most recently, Iran had all of the United States military microwave communications radar and possible weather manipulation radar destroyed. And immediately they were covered in rain and snow and fixed all their problems. So why isn't the United States doing that? Right? Darcy T continues, this has been published in the mainstream media. It is. It's not a secret. Not to mention the climate manipulation that is being done covertly around the world. There are numerous patents for this technology as well. So we know that it exists. My guess is so that the redirection of resources is blamed on climate change and no one will be the wiser. Well, here is my opinion on that. With respect to weather modification used to fix our receding, declining, shrinking reservoir water levels, the government could fix that problem. No problem. Over the next couple of years, cloud seeding, little weather manipulation, steering those clouds where they need to go. Well, so why aren't they? Do you guys have the answer? I do. Because if government was about fixing our nation, they could do it. Whether it's the money supply, right? Let's see. How about reducing the budget, reducing the spending? How about revaluing gold to $1 million to pay off all the debt? Have lots of cash value to operate the country while we rebuild our economy, make America great again, right? Why wouldn't we do it? What? Close the border, deport the illegals. There's all kinds of things we can do to make America great again. And they're not doing a single one of those fucking things, including using weather modification not to flood North Carolina and Texas, not to destroy parts of Florida and the Gulf Coast and the East Coast with hurricanes. How about not fucking us up with tornadoes and earthquakes and tsunamis? How about just giving us the rain where it's needed? Because they are not about fixing problems. And it was really hard for me to come to this conclusion. Why won't they do things to fix? Because they don't want to fix. They have the power to reduce the budget, to balance the budget, to fix the money problem, to fix the weather problem, to get rid of the illegals, to fix everything, to run the military like a military, to run colleges like colleges. Instead, it's always propaganda. It's always lies. It's always to enrich the rich and to steal our country from us. And that is exactly why we're reaching Deadpool lows, and they're not fixing it. And they won't use the technology that we know they have because they've admitted it. It's in their white papers. It's in military papers. It's in the mainstream media, and they won't do a fucking thing to fix this country. But they'll keep doing every single thing they can to destroy it. It's because that is their agenda. That is their goal, is to destroy this country. I have no doubts. I have no doubts because I have been saying, if I can figure this out, anyone can figure this out, especially people who are supposed to be smart. Like the people in Washington, they're supposed to be smart. But here we are. Here we are. Okay. It is your show, my friends. Super chat donations right up there, or Venmo, CashApp, PayPal. Now, of course, Darcy T just did her $50 super chat. And Chin Music has done a $52.23 super chat Venmo. So that's a $50, which means another shot of scotch plus a $2.23. And you guys all know what that's about, right? That is the civilian basic designation for the 5.56 NATO round that goes into that wild, crazy firearm, the M16A4, M16 AR-15 or M4, right? I love how they call it a high-powered. They're full of shit. Anyways, Chin Music, here's your shot, brother. Semper Fi to one, Semper Fi to all. Down the hatch, and then when I get your text, when I get your comment, I'll put you up in the, we'll get you on screen, the topic, and we'll talk. I need that. I need the medicine. Good golly. Kill the pain. Been doing a lot of, moonlighting this weekend. Construction moonlighting, just to take care of business. But Darcy T, great question about why don't they use the weather? Because it's about not saving America. It's about, unfortunately, destroying America. Literally. No, you and I, us, the people, we are about fixing this country. Are we or are we not? Yes, we are. For anyone, of course, who's over on the Prepared Mind, well, of course, we got the Prepared Mind YouTube with 80,000 subscribers, or 79. We got the Prepared Mind with 5,000 subscribers. We've got, Uman X, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, BitChute, all over social media. If you want to do super chats, you have to be on the YouTube site with 5,000 subscribers. The one with 79,000, you can't do it. They don't allow that button there for some reason. Whatever they can do to screw us over. That's their goal. Their goal is to make it incredibly difficult for you and I to communicate, to encourage the right kind of thinking, That's what this game is all about. But you and I care about this country, and they want to stop us. They do. So let's get into this. This comes to me by way of the internet. And look at that. That is a picture of a guy. He's got a pretty good stance, does he not? He's got himself, his sidearm is up. It's in the firing position. He's sighting in on the bad guy. He's got himself a fine hat. Having a good hat when you're taking care of criminal business is important. This was taken in Idaho. Idaho. That may explain the very large pistol and hat. It's at an In-N-Out burger. That's right, Idaho In-N-Out. In Idaho. And a shooting occurred. This guy didn't do the shooting that killed an employee. This guy is being considered a heroic bystander, a regular American who shot the criminal murdering piece of shit, whom the police have still not named as the suspect. They haven't named the suspect. They haven't given us a motive. We just know that this guy right here, Pow, took care of some business. Now, the police haven't named the suspect or the motive, meaning he's a Democrat, he's a fruitcake tranny, he's an illegal, or a Muslim, right? So the man witnessed in this chaos, shooting the criminal using his own handgun, is believed to be named Jordan Salinas. Apparently, if it is Jordan Salinas, he doesn't want the accolades. He is just a good American doing his job, protecting and helping the people. It's what we all do on a day-to-day business. We go about doing what's right. But it is still unconfirmed that Jordan Salinas is the guy who took care of the fucking problem. So the moral of the story is the more of us are ready and armed, the more lives can be saved from the wacko, religious, left-wing, communist nutcases that are out there. Whether they're Muslim commies, college commies, Antifa commies, BLM, fruitcake commies, tranny commies, right? Your typical Democrats. The more lives that we can save, right? Now, so my question is, are you prepared for the coming madness, for the chaos? Now, today I did a couple of videos. I'm sorry, a couple of pictures that I used for the notification, right, that I sent out to a YouTube channel, right, posts showing a picture of me and the bad guys, right? Are you ready? Do you see them coming? Because I do. Even though those are computer-generated photos, I see them coming. I am ready for the madness and chaos. I'm not happy about it. I don't want it, but I'm ready for it. Anyways, thank you if it is Jordan Salinas or whoever the heck it was that brought safety back. Unfortunately, one person did die in this, well, fruitcake-caused melee. And now, as we get into the show, we've got a great super chat here coming from none other than Carport Carl checking in. And he says, John, with commies everywhere in America, I will guarantee, says Carl, in his opinion, that Flock will use its data to track conservatives when the balloon goes up. $10 super chat donation. And folks, your super chats keep the lights on. They pay for subscriptions like our servers, our internet access, news items, and soon we're going to add more subscriptions to create concept videos. Concept videos. It is not free to do what we do, and I want to thank you guys from the heart for supporting everything I do. Once again, you know, it's really difficult working full time. You know, a 40-hour work week turns into a 50-hour work week real quick, and then moonlighting takes up more time, and it's tough. And you guys make it happen. So thank you very much. Now, let's get into Carport Carl. There are commies everywhere in America, and we're going to talk about more of that as the show progresses. He says, I will guarantee that Flock, these are the surveillance cameras that are all over the country now, and they did it. Millions of these fucking cameras went up without the general public knowing what they're going up, who's paying for it, what the information is being used for, who has access to the information. We've all learned that private corporations are being funded by city, county, state to put their cameras up and pay them money to track all of us and send the information to the data centers where they're compiling folders about who we are, where we drive, what we are doing, where we're at, who we associate with as best they can. And I'm sure they combine that with all the information they steal off our phones, our GPS locations, our vehicle information, how long we're in a certain area, everything. What other phones are around you. Those all have identifying numbers, which identify them with people. They track us. So Carport Carl says he, in his opinion, thinks that Flock data is going to be used to track conservatives when the balloon goes up. Let's change one word, Carl. One freaking word. Instead of the word conservatives, let's use the word enemies of the state. Actually, that's a phrase, isn't it? Let's use the phrase enemies of the state. Flock will use its data to track enemies of the state when the balloon goes up. What does it take to take out Flock cameras? Can of spray paint, a baseball bat, a sawzall, or a vehicle just running them over, and then smashing the solar panel on it, smashing the camera, and instructing the most localized homeless population that they're full of copper with trace amounts of gold and silver in the electronics, and they need to go collect that material, turn it into scrap yards so they can get paid and they can get more whiskey to drink. Yeah. They are going to track us, but when the balloon goes up, every Flock camera can come down in less than 90 minutes, less than 60 minutes. If we're all in the same time frame, any Flock camera that's anywhere near you or that you travel by can be absolutely dismantled, destroyed, and taken down in no time at all. In other words, it will be of no use to them once we realize that, well, the shitstorm has started. So, yeah, after the balloon goes up, Carl, the Flock will come down. But up until that point, they will find out who you are, I am, all of us. In fact, I think they already know. They're just building more complete files and stacking more information. That's how they do it. Just like the Nazis did it. Just like the Nazis did it. A great topic, folks. The Flock cameras are, in my opinion, they are the Boston Tea Party moment if our nation elects to make that exactly what it is. It has to make it that. We have to use that. Are people done enough? Are they pissed off enough? People are. Down in the city of St. Pete. The city of St. Pete, which is over on, let's see, where's it at? West side of Florida, right over by Tampa. An old man decided he didn't like Flock cameras. So what did this, well, I'm going to call him not an old man. Let's say, I don't want to call him a geriatric, a retired gentleman, took a pool skimming net, posted a sign on it, and held it up in front of the Flock camera. Eventually, the police were called on him. The police came out. The police arrested him for obstructing a camera's view of what people were doing. He wasn't hiding crimes. No. No one's committing a crime. They're telling us Flock cameras are just used to, well, in the event a crime happens. Well, here we are, and this is what they want to do. Cameras have the right to see everything, including children in daycare and exercise centers. And yeah. It's going to be game time, folks. It's going to be go time. It's going to be go time. All right, Chin Music has been typing. Where did he send everything? Let's see. Here it is. Chin Music checking in once again with a $50 Venmo super chat and a plus a $2.23, a 223 bonus. Now, he says, we all need a break, don't we? But I think that's the point. They just want to wear us down to the point we just don't have the energy to fight anymore. Great observation, Mr. Chin Music. That's called attrition. Getting us to submit, surrender, give in, like, I just can't take it anymore. Fuck it. That's what they want to do. Now, he writes, the picture of that white woman waving the invaders into Spain was an indication of the mental rot we are fighting. So he's talking about I think the little territory in Spain is called Ceuta. And they literally unleashed 20 to 30,000 illegal Moroccan immigrants into that Spanish town, which only had 40 to 50,000 immigrants. They practically doubled the population with immigrants in one fucking day to overwhelm this. I don't want to call it a city. It's a town. Overwhelm the residents who hide in their houses while the streets are being overrun by these filthy scumbags everywhere. And they're crapping in the streets, literally, on people's porches, on their cars, throwing garbage everywhere. The streets are now covered in filth, as if it looks like downtown Los Angeles or San Francisco or Detroit or Chicago. In one day, they've completely ruined this town. A town that's been there for literally thousands of years. Folks, I know when we say thousands of years, we think of Egypt and the Middle East. And no. Europe has been inhabited for millennia prior to Jesus Christ. These towns have been there. And they want them destroyed as much as they want us in America destroyed. Let me continue with Chin Music's commentary. The mental illness, the mental rot is liberal mind rot. Okay. She is so blind with the left-wing hatred, she doesn't realize she's on the menu as an appetizer for those savages in Spain. On another note, the same 18 items I buy for my meal plan used to be about $90 to $100 when I started 3 years ago. Now, $160 to $175. What the fuck, right? I don't know how people with kids are doing it, but hey, Israel has weapons, healthcare, and budget surplus, so we're blessed. Long live the Goyim. Okay, so it's a two-parter from Chin Music. So again, these liberal idiots are continuing to welcome in, permit, support, and allow these illegals everywhere to continue abusing the system, abusing the population, and raping literally little girls as well as our public coffers. And they like it. They fucking hate the country they live in. They hate it. They absolutely hate their country, hate their people, hate their culture, hate their traditions. There's no other reason for them to do what they're doing. Period. Absolutely. Period. There's no other reason. There's no other excuse for what's going on. If you've got something to say, get your comment on the screen. Super chat button is right up there, just like Carport Carl did. Chin Music chooses Venmo. But now the second part of his comment, inflation. Well, yeah, we're suffering under near 100% inflation over the last, even if it's 5 years. Doubling of prices in 5 years is 100 divided by 5 is 20% annually. Annually. If it's 100% over 4 years, it's 25% annually. If it's doubling the price in 3 years, That's 33% inflation per year. The currency is shit. The cost of everything is massive. And you and me, we're fucking paying for it. Period. Yes, while the illegals come in and they get credit cards, phones, housing, money, food, everything free. It is the government's way of telling all of us, fuck you. That's what they do. But yes, America, the United States of America, make sure the country of Israel has all the weapons they need. Don't worry, the American people will pay for it. All those weapons. Israelis, they all have free health care. Don't worry, the American people, they'll pick up the bill. You bet. You bet. Whatever they need, we give it to them. Because that means we'll be blessed. Unbelievable. No doubt, unfreaking believable. Let us continue. I've got a nice super chat donation here. Oh, Heidi. I'm going to need you to put what you have to say in all caps, questions, comments, or just say Chef's Choice. Chef's Choice. We're going to discuss Dr. Fauci coming up here. We're going to need Dr. Fauci discussion coming up. So let me set up my comments. Oh, because I have some. Right, and it's just going to make sense. Well, except for the part where it doesn't make sense. Okay, let's do this. Big Dan the Man Erickson. He writes, how about that weasel Fauci claiming the fifth? Well, Senator Josh Hawley. Let me get him up here on the screen. There he is. Senator Josh Hawley. Here's his quote. Anthony Fauci had no right to invoke the Fifth Amendment after receiving immunity. End quote. Well, Big Dan, you don't have any congressional authority. I don't have any congressional authority. No one here is a congressman or a senator. We've got no authority. Josh Hawley does. He should have held him in contempt, but Josh Hawley is a fucking coward. Done. You have the power. You're not using it to fix anything. You're a coward. They should say, look, you've got immunity, right? We're holding you in contempt. Criminal contempt. Or you strip his immunity by telling him he has to use the immunity and answer the questions, or decline his immunity by telling him, no, you have it. You either use it or you lose it. You have to fucking answer the question or you're going right to jail. Criminal contempt. Senator Hawley, all 100 senators, plus the Vice President of the United States, has the absolute authority to hold Fauci in criminal contempt. I'm disgusted. I'm literally fucking disgusted with these people because they're a bunch of politicians. They're cowards. They've got their hand out, taking money. It is broke dicks, dereliction of duty on their part not to hold them in contempt. It is destroying faith in the system. It is ruining justice. It is making criminal activity easier to get away with every fucking day. Every day. Heidi did a $50 super chat. And you just got to put a question up there in all caps. Right? My thing is, I'm absolutely disgusted with cowardly politicians who all want to yell, foul, not fair. That is wrong. You have immunity. You have to da da da. And then they act like a bunch of sissy fucking clowns and just dance and scream. Well, that they want things their way, but they won't do anything to make it happen. They just won't. They're leaving us out to dry, pretending like they give a shit. Once again, it's the government. The government is not here to solve our problems. Who was it? It was Ronald Reagan. President Reagan said, right, what did he say about government? Government is not the solution to our problems. Government is the problem. Reagan was beautiful at explaining things like that in a simple way that even I could understand as a kid, right? Senator Josh Hawley, you are a fucking pansy. Absolute pansy. And Fauci claiming the fifth, Big Dan. Zero anything. I have nothing for that piece of shit. Fauci can burn in hell. In fact, I know there's a lot of discussion out there. You guys are not big fans of, here's one of my favorites from Scotland. That's right, Scotland in the United Kingdom. Bob Hunter, he says, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Wanted to let you know I see you. And I see everyone flashing by. And unfortunately, I can't get to everyone's comments. But super chat donations or down below, we have Venmo, CashApp, PayPal. Those will get you on board as well. Heidi, put in your comment or say Chef's Choice and we'll get to you as well. Right now, we've got a great $20 super chat coming from none other than my little sister, Nancy Keg herself. She's not actually my little sister. I just call her that. $20 super chat. And she says, John's topic tonight, and as always, Semper Fi means always faithful to the Prepared Mind family. All right, I've got a lot to talk about. A lot. And once again, I apologize for missing Friday, but I'm back. It was the oddest thing. Odd. Let's go with how safe are you on the streets? I know Nancy's up north in the Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin zone. I'll keep it kind of wide. And Heidi says Chef's Choice. Chef's Choice it is, Heidi. Yeah, she says Chef's Choice. I'm not full of shit, folks. She actually said that. Back to Nancy K. Up there, up north, in the great state of liberalized, fucked up Wisconsin, we've got, would you look at that? A fruitcake protester with a giant stick in the face of none other than investigative journalist Nick Sorter and also Karlin Borisenko. Okay, this is up in Minnesota. And you also notice a bunch of filth on the windshield of the car. So these were Black Lives Matter rioters / mostly peaceful rioters in Wisconsin. They mostly peacefully threatened to kill investigative journalists, Nick Sorter and Karlin Borisenko. What were they doing? Well, they were covering the news, right? Stuff the mainstream media will no longer do. And I don't wonder why anymore. I believe it's because mainstream media are a bunch of cowards and they're a bunch of shit stains and they have no integrity or compunction or desire anywhere to cover the news. It's not about them. They could get assaulted. They could hurt, right? So they don't want to be there. Instead, they let regular people go out and cover the news, put it on social media, and take all the slings and arrows. So these BLM fucks, what did they do? They tried preventing these people from leaving the scene. Right? Nick and Karlin wanted to leave. They prevented that. That falls under kidnapping, folks. Kidnapping. Affecting someone's ability to move and travel, leaving them in a vulnerable and dangerous position. Additionally, they attacked them by throwing vomit on the car. Puke. That was the windshield. Once again, take a look at the windshield. It's got puke thrown all over it. In my opinion, that is a form of terrorism. It is bioterrorism. You don't know what's being thrown at you or on you. Is that a chemical? Is it a biological agent? Is it a combination of those things? It scares the hell out of you. You don't want to touch it. It's on your car. Bioterrorism. That's two charges these people should be hit with. Attempted kidnapping and bioterrorism. And this type of behavior, though, is becoming much more prevalent. Now, down here in the great state of Florida, Nancy, I have a special option that very few states have. I can run over anybody who is threatening me while I'm in a vehicle, threatening to block me, and I feel like they are going to hurt me. I am under no obligation to allow people to hurt me. Nope. If they start hitting the vehicle, well, that's not hitting me, but it's telling me they're violent and that they may hurt me if they get an opportunity. If they're beating on the vehicle, they could beat on the glass, cover me in glass, cause serious bodily harm and injury, a fatal slice and cut, or reach in through the window on top of everything else and strangle me, choke me, hit me, tase me, gas me, hit me with chemicals. So the moment anyone tries impeding me or anyone else in the state of Florida and any other state that has this rule, you don't have to allow yourself to be victimized. You can drive away and run them over if they get in the way in an effort to escape their deadly fucking attack. Now, that's me in Florida. I can run over people threatening me. If that's not an option for you, I have to ask some simple questions. If faced with being trapped in your car and people around you threatening you, throwing things at your car, becoming physically violent, what will you do? Will you let them attack you, possibly injuring and killing you? Will you try and get out and fight them? Will you shoot them with a gun out the window? I mean, you have to ask yourself a question. Would you rather deal with Antifa marauders and murderers? Or would you rather deal with a courtroom being on trial, which is in itself a nightmare? Either way, it's your life that you get to make a decision about. What they want us to believe is this, my friends. They want you to believe that when they are swinging at you, threatening you, trying to hurt you, destroy your property, take control of the street, they're trying to show you that they have power over you. They want you to know that they have power over you. You don't have a choice. You don't have an option. They're going to do what they want, and you're going to suffer. If you want to live like that, you may. Or you can take action. I don't know what you're going to choose. I know what I am allowed to do, and I am under, and no one is under any obligation, Nancy. No one's under any obligation to allow yourself to be killed. This isn't England, where you don't have a right to defend yourself if you're being punched, kicked, stabbed, shot. In fact, you'll just get fucking arrested while you bleed out from being stabbed by some turban-headed fuckwad from Pakistan or India. Not me. Not me. No sirree, Bob. All right. So now we got Heidi. Or did I just do Heidi? No. I did. Wait a minute. I did Nancy. And so I guess I've got to do Heidi now, right? Yeah. Crazy, John. Let's get it straight. Okay. It is crazy. Let's just go right back up to Minnesota, right? Let's go to Minnesota because that's where it's the general zone where both Heidi and Nancy are from. And yeah, look at that. Trans kids belong. This isn't just some lady, by the way, that's wearing a trans kids belong. It is the Minnesota Lynx coach. Well, who's the Minnesota Lynx? Oh, they're a lesbian National Basketball Association, the LNBA. She's a coach for the Minnesota Lynx, meaning she coaches women's basketball players, and she wants the world to see that she's wearing a political statement, not a team statement, not a team motto, but her political belief system. Trans kids belong. No, they don't. Sorry, trans kids don't belong. Trans kids are victims. Trans kids are victims. So the coach is wearing a Trans Kids Belong t-shirt to a game against the Fever. That's the Indiana Fever, the team of, well, Sophie Cunningham. Never mind that other best player in their ridiculous league, but Sophie Cunningham, who has been making quite a political splash and set of statements as she plays. So, in the trenches, folks, the politicians are trying to be quiet about their political beliefs. But in the trenches, down here amongst us working people, the woke are not going to go away. So the best I'm going to do and continue to do, I guess, is boycott the LNBA, the Lesbian National Basketball Association. I'm not going to support them by buying tickets. I'm not going to give them, the players and the coaches, a platform to continue pushing for mutilating and sexualizing children. Nor am I going to give them a platform for pushing on America's destruction. Do not support the Lesbian National Basketball Association. See, Sophie Cunningham, she wants to talk about women's sports. She doesn't want to talk about trans children, but they want to attack her and attack her message. So don't support them, or any woke sport for that matter, whether it's professional, amateur, college, grade school, high school, don't do it. And if you want to support Sophie calling for only women in women's sports, then I guess you could buy her shoes. Apparently she's got a good shoe contract, a shoe deal going. Good stuff, folks. Good stuff. Thank you so much. And now let's get to Viking. Love it. $20 super chat donation coming out of Viking. And, oh, by the way, we go 2 hours, Sunday Night Live. 2 hours every week on Sunday. This is when everyone's here live. We got both YouTube channels. X, we're on the Ooman channel on X. Also, we've got, let's see, Instagram and Facebook and BitChute and Rumble. Everywhere that Jolene, the prepared mother, can send us, that's where we're at. Anyways, here we are. And now we got Viking, and he says the most recent invasion of Ceuta, that's the Spanish city where it's been overrun by somewhere between 30 and 40,000 illegals in one fucking day. The most recent invasion of Ceuta will only encourage millions more to do the same. Europe and the UK, the United Kingdom, are completely done. Now, here's the deal. These fucking morons across the Mediterranean. Okay, so you got Spain, a little Spain, and then you got the Mediterranean under it. And then on the other side of that is North Africa. And that's where Morocco is. It's on the Mediterranean. It should have beautiful weather, beautiful environment, lots of fish, agriculture, everything it needs. But is Morocco a shithole? You know, it can be. Why do they need to go to Spain? It's not much different. Other than it has, let's see, white women, white Christian women, peaceful Christian people trying to live in their city for, enjoy their lives. Yeah, they've been invaded and it's fucking ruined. So just like America, just like the United States of America, it is the politicians in Spain that are allowing it. And I wish the president would do more, but he might be playing his part like a good little puppet. Right, Viking? Oh, we don't want these illegals, but he's not doing anything to stop them. But you see, the people in Morocco, they can't just charter a boat and head to Spain. It's not that simple. It's not that easy. It is a nasty body of water there, especially right in the Strait of Gibraltar. It's a nasty body of water. A lot of boats, a lot of traffic, a lot of waves, a lot of current. So what's going on? You have people like George Soros, the Davos douches, all those billionaires out of Switzerland, that they call that their, adopted home, while they destroy national sovereignty, boundaries, cultures and traditions. They're paying to send people by the tens of thousands out of Morocco and Tunisia and Libya and Egypt and Syria and any place they can, and send them into Europe to absolutely destroy them. As Viking is talking about, Europe and the United Kingdom are completely done, invaded, destroyed. Now it comes down to, will the people fight, Or will the people take shit? Have their cities, countries, cultures, women, agriculture, everything fucking destroyed? That's what's going on. You are absolutely right, Viking. They're destroyed. That doesn't mean they can't fight back. Heidi is absolutely righty. $50 super chat. I forgot to get my scotch. Whoop, 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 whoop. Glenn Fiddick, 18 year. Right here, Heidi. I appreciate you checking up on me like that. I almost feel like a bad host, denying what the people want. And I can't live like that. No, I can't, Heidi. So here it is. And thank you to you, also a little sister of mine. Woo! Sometimes it hits, and that was a good one. Thank you, Heidi, very much for the scotch. And now we're going to continue. Folks, we're at 300 people live right here on my ticker. It goes right at 300 live. Share the internet address at the top. Share the URL, or down below there's a share button. Hit that share button. Share it with everyone you know. Whether you're, in Scotland like Bob Hunter, or up in, extreme United States, North America, like Heidi and we got a bunch of people up north there. Yeah, Heidi and Nancy are the two most prominent. Out in the Great Northwest, up by the Canadian border, closer than I am. We got everyone. We got Viking up there. We've got Big Dan the Man. And now we've also got, joining us, Patty Hamilton with a $5 super chat donation. And I think I see a horse there in her emblem. I can't tell if that's a quarter horse or maybe a thoroughbred. Anyways, I've had both. Quarter horse, Morgan, thoroughbred, even an Arab. I know a little bit about horses. I fed them for 23 fucking years. Anyways, Patty Hamilton with a $5. She says, John, love your channel. Thank you, Patty. She says, your live Sunday night is the best, so educational. And I really appreciate the compliment. I do. I appreciate the compliment. Education. I had some incredible teachers growing up through grade school, high school, in the military. I had great educators, as well as the college courses I've taken in college. I have, we're going to keep it quiet about how many degrees I have. It doesn't make me an expert because I have degrees. All of us, we have degrees of understanding, and that's what's important, right? Education. This show is, the best teachers that I've had, entertaining as well as educational. You combine the two and people will love to learn. And so I do my best to be entertaining with my characterization of the fucking idiots causing problems, to the material, to using pictures, artificial intelligence pictures, etc., to try and illustrate and show what's going on around here. Patty, thank you very much for the super chat donation, for making me look really hard and see what kind of horse that was. And of course, for giving me a chance to talk about the educational value of the Prepared Mind channel. Very important to me and the show and everything we do. Now, Big Bob Hunter, $20, or rather 20-pound super chat donation. Again, Big Bob's from the great country of Scotland, where scotch is made. He says, Felix Sparks, who lived from 1917 to 2007, out of Texas, captain of E Company, 157th Infantry Regiment, to lieutenant colonel, in charge of a task force that was to hunt down Adolf Hitler, but instead liberated Dachau concentration camp on 29 April 1945. This is a memorial, and I want to thank you, Bob, for sharing it. Felix Sparks, out of Texas. Right. Just a moment of silence there. Thank you, Big Bob, for that. There's a lot of great men, and they fought. They fought for our rights, for freedom, for men, for women. When people go to fight, it's been incredible. It's been absolutely incredible. The reasons that Americans and the United Kingdom and all of Europe fought, it's for freedom and liberty, to put down oppression and evil. But evil is a very tricky, nasty bit of business. And so we have to be careful. We have to understand it. Two wrongs don't make a right. But pointing at one bad person and saying everyone else must be good, right? You got to be careful. But yeah, liberating people and freeing them, very important. And Yankee Watchdog, you are correct. I do stand absolutely corrected. You did a $5 super chat. And again, I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. And I've been reminded here that Ceuta is a Spanish territory that is not over attached to Spain. It is part of North Africa. And it is adjacent to Morocco. Much like down in Spain, the territory of Gibraltar, right on the water in the Strait of Gibraltar, belongs to England, of all places, even though it's surrounded by Spain. It's kind of like also Guantanamo Bay. Cuba is an American base occupying a portion of Cuba as a military base and, shall we say, detention facility. It's on Cuba, but Cuba doesn't own it. And Ceuta is in North Africa. It is attached to or adjacent to Morocco, and Morocco wants their land back. It ain't no different than India kicking out the Brits. Actually, this is where I'll debate you a little bit. You see, India claimed to own all, or England claimed to own all of India as a colony. And as a colony, it was going to govern all of India, right? The entire, you could even call it the Indian subcontinent or peninsula. It is such a big thing that juts out into the Indian Ocean. But this topic, and I think it's an important topic. The United States owns, like I said, the tip of Cuba, where Guantanamo Bay is. Ceuta is a very small landmass in a much larger part of Morocco. Now, every embassy that any country has in any other country, that little piece of dirt that the embassy sits on is considered the sovereign territory of the country whose flag is flying. So the United States Embassy in Morocco is owned by the United States. Their laws of Morocco do not apply on the real estate that is called the embassy, whether it's the American embassy, the Canadian embassy, the Scottish embassy, whoever has an embassy, right? Now, does the country, if they want their land back, okay. What you're saying is you don't want an embassy there, whether it's Italian or French or Spanish or American, it doesn't matter. You don't want the embassies, fine. You no longer have a political connection via the embassy with that country, and you may as well get the fuck out of the other countries, right? So this idea of your country has another country owning a small portion of it. The United States of America has lots of embassies from other countries. But do they have bases? No, not in America, but we have bases in other countries. And those bases are treated like U.S. military sovereign territory. Okay, so if Morocco wants their land back from Ceuta, or from the Spaniards, Ceuta, okay then. Now, why did they take Ceuta? What's the deal with that? Why does Spain claim this small bit of dirt across the Mediterranean, as you point out, Mr. Watchdog? Good thinking, by the way, and I appreciate the correction as always. Well, Probably because Morocco did something really fucking stupid. Like, I don't know, pirates committing an act of aggression against Spain. You know, kind of like the Barbary Coast pirates that pissed off the Americans 200 years ago. So we sent over the United States Navy when the ships were wooden, and they went over with the United States Marines and kicked the ever-loving fuck out of the Barbary Coast pirates. Right? The Marine Corps officers were gifted the Mameluke sword, of which they still carry that. The Marine Corps officer carries the Mameluke sword as part of their dress uniform. So yeah, all around the world we share territory. We offer small amounts of territorial sacrifice to maintain relationships with other countries. So if Morocco wants Ceuta back, or Ceuta, or any way they want to fucking pronounce it, it's no skin off of my teeth as an American, but it's certainly the skin off of the people's teeth that live there, if they're Spaniards. Now, as an American, do I want to live in a country that is antagonistic with America? Do I want to live in Colombia or Venezuela or Israel or Syria or Lebanon? No, fuck no. But this is what's going on. This is, once again, even though, yes, a Spanish territory is in North Africa, in the country of Morocco, how long has it been owned, or shall we say controlled and governed by the Spaniards? 100 years? 200 years? I just don't know the answer, but I'm going to think about the same time 200 years ago. I just don't know. But in all truth, it doesn't matter. What Morocco is saying is, we're going to send our people in there. We're going to take over your shit. We're going to ruin your stuff. To me, that's really no different than them sailing across and being dumped there with the purpose of fucking people's lives up. I don't see any difference, literally. Because it's been held. It's been maintained. Good golly. I tell you what. I just received a video from Mr. T. And so what I need to do is upload it. And then I think we'll take a look at it. What do you say? Anyways, Yankee Watchdog, thank you a million for that. I really appreciate it. Again, the correction's important, but the topic, the discussion, understanding what's going on in the world instead of, well, jumping to conclusions and saying this is bad or that's wrong or that was needed. I like to have the discussion, then we can all make up our mind about what we want to believe. You know, I'm not going to tell you have to believe anything I say. Jeez, I just might be crazy. But then again, running things through your filter, what do you believe? What do you believe? Let's see if this comes through. Well, it appears to be loading up. Mr. T, thank you again. What we have is a John on the Street interview that apparently I did, and it's finally been set up and cleaned up. So we're going to have some fun with it. Yes, we are. But again, when it comes to opinions, I just have an opinion, and I base it on the knowledge I have, the experience and things I've looked at, as well as new information, other people's opinions, and I think about things. Just as I know you guys do, and we all should, what the government wants, what the mainstream media wants, what the Davos douches want, is they want you to not think at all and only use their mainstream media or their official press releases to be what you use to think about things. It's very important for them to control us. And when they can't control us, well, we're out of control, aren't we? We're out of control. What the hell is that? Okay. We're going to go over here real quick. Okay, I've got a topic. I've got something from a gentleman, Sean R. has also done a super chat. And I really appreciate that. I'm going to get to that here in a second. First, let's take care of, Mr. T's video. It is a John on the Streets. So John the Streets on trusting experts. Again, this is perfect timing, by the way, Mr. T. It's trusting experts. Should we trust the experts or trust ourselves? Do we trust their information? Or do we trust everything we've learned and discuss and research, right? I like trusting large bodies of information based on what I know already and what I've been taught, what I've learned, what I've researched, rather than, well, here's this expert over here, and he's telling me his thought, and I should think of nothing else except this guy. So let's have some fun with this. Take it away, Mr. T.
Hey, everybody. It's time for John on the Street. All right, here's a guy who gladly drank the Jim Jones juice and lived to tell the tale. Sir, can you tell me why you gambled everything to take the shot? Because America wants to know.
Well, experts, like political leaders and science advisors, said to take it to save lives and keep others safe, so I did.
If you recall, the nutrition experts said eggs, cholesterol, butter were bad, but they were wrong. It turns out we need eggs, butter is good for us, and seed oils are actually very unhealthy. You remember how badly they got it wrong? Well, maybe we should stop trusting the experts, especially politicians. But I feel like maybe I shouldn't be saying that out loud. I'll say it for you. You can only trust a politician, scientist, or expert as far as you can kick them. Find out who's bribing them to know why they say what they say so they can control us little people. There you have it. Join us again to see John kicking ass and taking names in John on the Street.
Love it, man. Love it. Thank you, Mr. T. That's exactly what I had in mind when I started working with him a couple of weeks ago about one of the things we can do, public service announcements, interviews on the street, and creating them to get me out there. Anyways, I really appreciate that, Mr. T. I'm going to keep that one, in the mix, because I just think it's important to stop trusting experts, because every time I turn around, the experts are there and they tend to steer us wrong. There's so many other examples. That's good stuff, but I want to get to Mr. Romero's $5.56 super chat donation through Venmo. And yes, Venmo it is. And I like that I'm getting like multiple messages off the internet. Don't forget. Good stuff. He says, "Hi, John. Your thoughts on Pahlavi returning to restore a free Iran and its people uprising soon?" Well, I've got some good stuff on that for you, and I think it's a really good topic. So let's do this. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, no, you don't, computer. Okay. Let's get rid of that and then go with, a World War III update. Hang on, Sean. It's going to get all tied in. Once again, President Trump has announced a basic peace deal with Iran has been agreed to, like the framework. We got some frameworks all set up, and they're announcing, we got that. We've got some basic, look, if you had the peace deal 2 weeks ago and you got pissed and you started bombing each other, that peace deal is still pretty much there. It's all framed up. It just needs someone to fucking sign it and live up to it. So this peace deal has again been agreed to, and Trump has now halted all planned, all prepared, all announced and unannounced U.S. airstrikes. But once again, I anticipate Trump getting 90%, everything all put in place. And then Israel is going to reject this offer between America and Iran. They're going to get in there and fuck it all up, and the bombing will start again. I want to be wrong. But for months and months and months out of this, this 2-day war, it's supposed to be a 2-day war. One moment. Wow. Nasty sneeze. I apologize, folks. Every time they get a peace deal, it gets ruined because Israel doesn't like it. So this 2-day war that became a 3-day war and then a 4-day war is now months and months and months. And this peace crap has happened again and again and again. Now, I think it's important to understand what happened in Persia, aka Iran, back in the 1970s. There was a political uprising by radical Muslim forces who took control of the country. They deposed or threw out the Shah of Iran, who acted as their benevolent dictator for many, many decades. But the Shah of Iran himself was installed not by the Iranian people, but by the Central Intelligence Agency, alongside and working with the British and Israeli governments way back in the 50s. Now, Israel had just started, but they were immediately and from the very beginning tied in with the CIA. Same with MI6 in England. And a lot of people accuse England, the country, under under the king, right? What they were doing is they were putting a puppet leader, the Shah of Iran, in charge of Iran, so they could get the oil, the energy out of Iran as inexpensively as possible. The United States government, through the Central Intelligence Agency, were also involved in replacing the prior government of Iran. Now, there's a little more history here, Patty, and that is to say that prior to World War II, Iran and the Germans, that would be the Weimar Republic and then the Hitler regime, were friendly with the Iranians, or Persians, if you will. Now, you've heard of the word Aryan, as in Aryan Brotherhood or Aryan white race. Aryan, Iran, same thing. What they found, what they discovered, is that the peoples that came to habitating Europe were genetically related to the Iranians, the Persians. Interesting, is it not? So yeah, the Nazis and Iran were buddies, allies in World War II. So after World War II, as a form of extended punishment, the CIA trashed the government of Iran, installed the Shah. The Shah went from the early 1950s all the way into the mid to late 70s, when the radical Muslims took control of the country, kidnapped all of the hostages in the American embassy, and they were hostage for 444 days until Reagan was elected. And that was a big change right there, huh? And now, as Mr. Romero is bringing up, Pahlavi returning to restore a free Iran and its people uprising soon. I do not like Muslims. I think Islam is a fucking racket. I think it is a religion designed to dominate and control everyone that they can get their fucking hands or swords in. Period. It is not a religion of peace. It is a religion of destroying all opposition so that there is no opposition. And that's how you get peace. Peace through defeating every enemy. Right? These Middle Eastern religions are shit. I don't like them. Any religion that says you need to kill the infidel, kill the non-believer, or kill someone who looks different, I don't like. Period. Now, having said that, I don't believe that if Pahlavi returns, I don't believe he's going to be freeing the Iranian people. I just think it's going to be a change from one controlling institution, right? The Iranian Revolutionary Guard and the theocratic Muslim-dominated political system, right? The Ayatollah Khomeini, all those fucking clowns. Instead, they'll be replaced with somebody who is, at the very least, sympathetic to the United States and Israel, or completely subservient and submissive to the United States and Israel. That's what Israel wants, and that's why all this bombing is taking place. So I don't have a lot of faith in either of the scenarios. I don't like the crazed ass religious leadership, nor would I like to see a crazed ass secular replacement? I wish for freedom and liberty for everyone. I don't want to trade one style of control for another style of control, whether it's for Iran or America or Europe or the United Kingdom. Anyways, Mr. Romero, thank you for the great $5.56 donation. And we're going to get back into more super chats. That's right. Super chat button right up there. Gets you on the screen right here. Like Big Bob Hunter and Puss there with a £5 super chat donation. He says, John, have you ever thought about running for a marathon or president? You're a good-looking guy full of fun and wit and a beautiful human being. Thanks. I appreciate it, Bob. I think back in 2020, I tried running for president so that I could tell YouTube, hey, you can't censor me. This is political free speech. I'm running for president. I guess I didn't fill out the paperwork and pay the fees. But I couldn't run for president, Bob. I don't think I have what it takes, to be frank. I wouldn't want to be anything other than a benevolent dictator playing this game where I have to suck up to special interest groups and put up with foreign nations either trying to bribe me, extort me, or threaten my family and myself and the country. It's a tough position to be in, right? To be a leader and then have to fuck around with Congress and deal with the fucking media. Now, as a benevolent dictator, I think I could do quite well, because I would use my authority as the benevolent dictator to lock up any politician that I didn't like. But John, due process. See, that's the problem, right? Due process. It's supposed to protect us, the citizens, from an abusive government. But what happens when the government is the thing that's abusive and we need to get rid of it? Well, you see, I don't think a benevolent dictator would be allowed to exist. Right? I just don't think it would happen. It could happen. They would be taken out. They would be shot. They would be arrested. Right? In other words, we would have literally a coup d'etat, and all interested parties would bring to bear whatever physical violence they could, whether it was the military or some local militia groups, or possibly even another country sending in their military to help secure the peace in our country. And now we're being occupied by fucking NATO or China or everyone, right? So it's tough. What we're going to end up having to do, I think, Bob, is we're going to end up having to have essentially another revolution, a dissolution of the United States of America, and then states that believe in things like liberty and freedom are going to have to put together a constitutional convention and create another set of rules under which we operate. Now, I don't like government. I think government is full of liars and scum and shitheads. It doesn't matter how good looking a person is or charismatic, right? I don't want to live under a good looking man or woman's charismatic idea of my slavery that benefits them, right? I'm sick and tired of them saying the First Amendment, nah, the Second Amendment, no, the Third Amendment, well, it doesn't seem to apply much anymore. Fourth and Fifth, the government can tell you when they can come and when they can go and what they can do and what they can look and how they can arrest you and fuck you upside and one down the other. They didn't obey the original Bill of Rights very well, did they? Arresting people, holding them without bail, denying them a speedy trial, and using cruel and unusual punishment, Seventh Amendment, completely fucking violated by Washington, D.C. since 2020, right? Every single one of these rules need to be rewritten in a new constitution, and there needs to be a fucking penalty for any government official that violates any of that or proposes to violate our rights through legislation. And again, I like a tiered thing. Well, there's a small tier, which is you're thrown out of office for recommending or coming up with the idea to violate people's rights or suspend them or whatever. And then if you actually take a step and do it, like say a prosecutor, a judge, law enforcement, or a politician actually takes someone's rights and violates them, you go to jail rest of your life. You lose your job and then you go to jail. And if you are caught in an act that is considered even remotely treasonous, not only do you lose your job, you skip the jail and you go right to the hangman's noose in a public execution. Shit like that needs to happen, in my opinion. Anyways, Big Bob, thank you, sir, for the great support. I appreciate the compliments. I wish. If charisma was enough to make the government behave, that'd be great. It's not. The checks and balances within our system has been used and abused by our government to usurp our liberties, to violate our good senses. And here we are. Right? So there has to be something more powerful than our system to fix our system, right? You can't build a 100-foot bridge to cross a 200-foot river. It's not enough. You'll never make it. So our system is set up. It's supposed to handicap government, but instead it has handicapped us. And so using our little government power and authority to defeat this gargantuan junta, this fucking leviathan of a government, no longer will our constitution, little constitution, deal with this giant monstrous leviathan organization, monster hydra, right? It can't do it anymore. So there has to be something more powerful than that. And that is all of us saying, you know what? We remove our consent, go fuck yourselves. The U.S. government is no more. And at the state level, all you state politicians, you now get to think about how you are behaving. Are you obeying the Constitution? And every state needs to put into their state constitution and any other more sort of multi-state organization penalties. There needs to be penalties for violating our rights, attempting to violate our rights, violating the rule of law, the Constitution, dereliction of duty, failing to do your job as an elected or appointed official carries with it a massive dollar penalty, a criminal jail penalty, or the fucking death penalty. There needs to be penalties for these fucking people. Period. Now, let's go back and let's see another $5 super chat with Patty Hamilton. She checks back in, and she did not tell me what kind of horse that is in the picture. But she says that smooth-talking Obama really fooled the masses. Oh, he did. He used at that time, let's take us all the way back to 2007, when Obama was campaigning to run for the president as a Democrat senator from the shithole state of Illinois. At that time, we didn't have a lot of racial tension, did we? It was so nice and so calm and so smooth. And America was so willing and wanting to have a, well, as Joe Biden said, a clean, articulate guy, clean, articulate black guy, like Obama. Well, I knew right away any politician is a lying sack of shit. And Obama is exactly that, a smooth sack of shit. And he lied. He promised hope and change. Well, he gave everyone the hope they wanted and only the change that the communists liked. Now, Obama is a fascist. He's a socialist, folks, but a fascist. Communism for the little people, of course, but up top, right? Those people want to keep their property. That's the fascist layer. They keep their businesses, corporations, their property, their wealth. But for everyone else, we live down here in their stinking communism. But Obama is a smooth-talking piece of shit. Yes, he is. He was a Manchurian candidate of Manchurian candidates. Every bit as easily controlled because he was married to a lot of people allege, Michelle. Sasquatch Michael Obama is a man. I think we've all seen a big swinging dick under Michelle's dresses and, well, sports pants. Yeah, very convincing dong swinging around down there. In any event, yeah, fool the masses because people felt guilty. Once again, liberal guilt on display. The same liberal guilt that makes them go, we need to do reparations. We need to let in illegals. They need to stay. It doesn't matter if they rape, lie, cheat, steal, kill, invade. No, that's all fine. They carry all this guilt and self-hatred. That's how Obama got elected. The guilt, the self-hatred, and we all paid for it. Thank you, Patty, very, very much. Now we got Big Bob back again, and Bob gets the hat trick for the night. This is 3 for Big Bob. He says Bill Leibold, who lived from 1923 to 2022. Good golly, 99 years. Bill Leibold was the last living survivor from the USS Tang. He was one of just 9 survivors out of 87 men who were fished from the ocean by the vengeful Japanese and somehow survived prisoner of war camps. If you like history, especially military and naval history, World War II, Pacific Theater, look up the USS Tang. I don't feel that I'm competent or well enough educated to talk about it, but I can talk about how the Imperial Japanese military treated Americans. They treated them very, very, very poorly. Very poorly. By the way, we have 350 people live here right now at one time. Pow! 350 is a huge number. Share the internet address or hit the share button below. Let's keep that going. Let's hit 400 before the show's up. We got another 35 minutes. But Big Bob, back to your super chat here. Have you guys ever heard of the Death March that American POWs were forced to take by the Japanese? It's just called the Death March. Look it up. They treated men very badly. So to survive that is incredible. And then to live 900, this is not Methuselah, 99 years, absolutely incredible. The Batang Death March is just crazy. Japanese were a vengeful and awful military force. What they did to the Chinese, absolutely awful. What they did to Chinese women, absolutely awful. What they did to Americans, the Philippines, every island nation throughout the Pacific and the Pacific island chains, awful. War is hell. War is definitely hell. Thank you, Big Bob, for that crazy business. Again, if you want to learn, if you're interested in military history, especially World War II, Pacific and European theaters, I do recommend the Fat Electrician, F-A-T, Electrician. His YouTube channel, The Fat Electrician, has specific battles, tactics, as well as commanders and individual, both enlisted and officers, what they did and how they did it, and the incredible stuff that happens in war. Absolutely in war. Okay, now, Big Dan the Man Erickson, he's back as well with a $5 super chat this time. He says, them European countries need to put up some sharp poles at their borders, and Vlad, the first wave on the poles, that would give them a message. What's he talking about here? Well, whether we're talking about Spain and Portugal, France and Italy, Greece, Macedonia, any of the Baltic states along the coast, anyone that borders Turkey or Ukraine, where they're running through as many of these Far Eastern Muslim pieces of shit and just cramming them into Europe, they need to do what, well, Vlad the Impaler did. So there's a nobleman who controlled a portion of Transylvania. Starting to sound familiar? He was, one of his nicknames was Vlad the Impaler. And as the Muslim Turks tried invading Europe, if they went through his area of the world, he stopped them. Vlad had poles, and he would literally take the enemy that he killed and put them on poles. The poles would sometimes go through their back and out the chest. Oftentimes it went up through their rectum and out their mouths. And they were left on these poles at along the roads that led to and the border of his territory as a warning to would-be invaders that the fate they would meet would be a very uncomfortable one, and their bodies would not be interred and buried, but rather left on poles, impaled by Vlad Dracul, right? Dracula, Vlad the Impaler. And it was a very cruel world back then, a barbaric world, but that is what the world was. Because people, especially evil people, understand one thing, and one thing they understand better than anything else, and that is violence. Violence. Right now, the world is relearning what violence is. Are they not? Young women in the United Kingdom, I am very sad to report, have learned what sexual violence is. Coming from a race of people, a religion that hates them and wants them punished for not being raised with, not believing what some foreign fuck believes that has come to their country. Government knows how to control us, do they not? With pain, with violence, with penalties. So we, the people, in every country, are kept in line by our own governments with pain or the threat of pain. But we, the people, need to relearn that we too can prescribe pain to our enemies. And while I don't condone violence or recommend it or blah, 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 fuck you, YouTube, right? I'm going to tell you the solution to our problems is violence. The solution to our problems is to become like Vlad on individual levels, in community levels, in state levels, to tell our enemies, the enemies of liberty and freedom, the enemies of our Constitution, the enemies of our belief system, which is we're good people, we're kind people, we do unto others as we would have them do unto us, right? I am not a violent guy. I don't do anything to anyone until they do something bad to me. And then, well, game on. So my motto, the golden rule, do unto others as I would have them do unto me. Now, what if they do unto me first? Then I should return in kind. Because they understand that. So anyone coming into my state, my county, my city, my community, you want to commit an act of violence against little girls, against old geriatric retired folks? You want to come and steal my money, or a corporation wants to steal water and electricity and liberty from us? I think that they only understand those same acts of violence which they wish upon us. For example, the people at the flock headquarters, they don't like people going there and trying to film them. They don't like people knowing where they're at. They don't like people knowing their policy, where they're spending their money, what politicians they're buying. They don't like that. They don't like them being tracked. Yet, the very thing they don't like, they're doing to us. And we would have left flock alone, except they're doing unto us first. So we return, we give them the same thing. The response is, you like surveillance? We're going to surveil you. You like snitching on us? We like snitching on you. Because that's what they understand. That's how they operate. You always give your enemy, well, whatever they give you, you give them that, and then some. Your enemy gives you 100 rounds, you give them 200 back. Why? Because we're generous. That's why. And yes, Big Dan the man, you are correct. If we put the enemy on poles, that would send a very, very powerful message, and the bullshit would stop. it would stop. Truly. Where do we go now? You know, there's just so much to talk about. You know, Dr. Fauci, this fucking guy. I hate this piece of shit. Senator Loomis said to Fauci, Fauci lied to the American people and Congress and is responsible for the overwhelming number of deaths because he blocked ivermectin. Fauci, I think, needs the Vlad treatment because he's lied directly to the people. He's lied directly to Congress, Senate, and House of Representatives. He's committed perjury. And if he is not prosecuted, if this little wormy sack of shit isn't prosecuted, the government's going to lose what little credibility it has with us, you and I, the American people. This bullshit in government has to stop, or violence is going to have to be used to rein in that corruption, right? The corruption of invaders, the corruption of lying medical bureaucrats, the corruption and lying of mayors, governors, the president, all of Congress, the judges, the Supreme Court. All of it needs to stop. Now, this bullshit has to stop, or violence is going to have to rein in the corruption. I don't make the rules, but I can predict the consequences of corruption when corruption is this extreme, right? Corruption gets this extreme. I can predict the consequences. I don't have to tell you, get your guns, form into groups, and go take your city hall, take the state capitol, and then march on Washington, D.C. I don't have to say that, and I won't. But what I can say is I know what is going to have to happen. I do. It's going to have to happen because they have done so much evil. They're so corrupt. Now, along those lines, and I want to thank everyone for the super chat donations up there. And then also the Venmo and the CashApp donations we gotten and the PayPal donations. I think we've hit all of them today. But when it's time for the violence to hit, it is usually the most radical that start it. For example, I've got a picture. It's not the actual picture, but let me tell you what happened. Yes, a crazed woman taking a suspiciously explosive-looking birthday cake to a general. I read this and was quite amused with it. A woman with a bomb disguised as a gift, may as well have been a birthday cake, tried to enter a restaurant in Moscow. Why did she do that? Because a Russian general was there celebrating his birthday. Well, security saw what she was doing, trying to bring a birthday present. She got stopped by the security. They were very suspicious. Well, her device detonated, killing 5 people in Russia and injuring another 21 people. This is what happens when people are at the end of their rope, good or bad, left or right, white or black. It doesn't matter. When people become so disillusioned with government, so disgusted with the corruption that they want communism or they want absolute freedom and liberty, anarchy. You know, the smallest government possible is, you can't have true anarchy, but, a tiny government, a libertarian government. When it gets that radical and crazy, right, these sorts of things happen, right? Killing 5, injuring 21 in an effort to blow up a general. Extremists always start the violence first. They do. They always start the violence first. When this type of violence happens in the United States, folks, we respond with similar violence. Expect to be labeled as the aggressor and the criminal, right? So let's just say in your town, BLM, Antifa, the Democrat Socialists of America, the DSA, join the Muslims and the the pro-Hamas groups, and they start committing acts of violence. And you, in an effort to protect yourself, your property, your family, your neighbors, your community, respond with like violence. They give you 100 rounds, you give them 200 rounds, right? You'll be labeled as the aggressor. You, me, we would be labeled as the criminals. Because remember, the communists are always mostly peaceful, mostly. Anyways, that was a crazy story. Trying to blow up a general, ended up blowing up 26 people. 5 of them got killed. And I'm sure the other 21 were not happy about that surprise. Now, I've got a request here that I've got to try and satisfy. Let's see if I can do it for you, Big Dan. The reason is I cannot stand up on camera. It just doesn't work. The camera's not far enough away. Let's go with shit. You know, the AI stuff that's been being done, Dan, is literally very accurate with my body type and size. Shit. There we go. I'm going to go with this. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to share this with myself. Everyone stand by. Stand by. Okay. Stand by. Let's go up here. Let's click this button, and there we go. It is now saved. I am now going to put it up here. It's basically, we've got Big Dan says, you need to stand up, show us you're not an out of shape 56-year-old man. Then we know you practice what you preach. I can't do it in the current bunker room I'm in. There's not enough room to get a full size shot of me. This is me right here at a gym at a friend's apartment. That's what I look like right there. That's me. I'm not an out of shape, fat, old 56-year-old man. Now, that having been said, I'm not in as good a shape as I was at age 39 when I was competing in strongman. But that is what I look like. Best I can do otherwise is just, trying to show, their arms here and everything else, but that's what I look like. I'm still 265 to 275 pounds, and it's who I am, man. But having said that, Chin Music has been inspiring me to work out and start working out heavy. Now, again, I injured this shoulder back in January. I fell about 7 feet and landed on concrete on it. Not a good move to make. Hurt like hell, and I've been in recovery for several months. Injury healing, never a good feeling. And then also going through physical therapy, and because it was a work-related injury, and then having the pain go down enough that I can start working out. So you're going to have some fun over the next couple of weeks. Let me get back into what I consider to be my prime shape, and we'll have some more fun with it. Anyways, I I practice what I preach. Now, can I run 10 miles? No. Can I run 5 miles? No. Can I run a mile? I probably could. I go up and down staircases all day. I do believe in staying in as good a physical shape as you can. Now, I'm not going to go through all of my, infirmaries, right? What do I have an injury? Well, I've got knee injuries and shoulder injuries and neck injuries. Everyone has injuries, but you still need to be in the best shape possible, right? I know that my physique, what I look like, I'm in a better shape than most of the people, the young men I see in their 20s. It's incredible. I don't know why or how people could be in such terrible condition in their 20s, except that they've been eating garbage, sadly. They don't do enough outside exercises, sadly. They don't do anything. We all need to do everything we can. only limited by pain and medical conditions. We need to be in as good a shape as possible. Now, to kind of address the topic more, being in good shape is critical. I receive from friendlies, I get friendly fire attacks probably once a week, maybe every other week, where I have somebody literally physically assault me and mess with me, get me in a bear hug if they can get their arms around me. Many of them can't. A good hit, a punch, just general horseplay, right? But people run from me. Why is that? Well, people run from me because, I've got these guns still. I've got this chest still. I'm large. I'm 6'6", right? And this is with friends. And the point of this is, if you look intimidating, you'll keep your enemies away as well. And he said, I don't want anyone thinking they can victimize me. So fortunately, I was blessed with a large frame and very big person, and I can really do the mean looks. But even if you're not big, even if you're average, even if you're 5'6", you can still be intimidating. You can still let people know you mean business. You're not to be fucked with, right? Period. Now, one of my coworkers carries his Sig Sauer gun in his belt, and I know it, right? Now, if I didn't know it, and I was like, hey, pal, I'm not going to say his name. Hey, pal, I had to kick your ass. All he would have to do is go, well, I hope you brought your piece or more than a knife, because you don't bring a knife to a gunfight. You can say something. Let people know, right? I'm not a pushover. I'm not your victim. I mean business. The way you can develop that attitude is practicing that attitude, right? Letting people know you mean business. You're not a pushover. You're not a target. Women too. Same thing. I've seen women intimidate men, not by being just a political nightmare, some feminist twat, but rather by saying, you don't want to mess with me. You don't want to find out what I have in store for you, right? And so it's part of life. Now, so many people I know have never dealt with that, never felt they had to do it. But now they do. And they talk to me and they go, geez, what do I do? I'm like, first thing you need to do, get some mace, get some bear spray, get some pepper spray, and start carrying it so you understand and you feel confident. And then stand in front of a mirror, literally, and talk shit at the mirror. Because if you are approached, if you are threatened, if you are being intimidated, the only tools you're going to have is your brain, the prepared mind, and whatever you're carrying, whether it's bear spray, a taser, or even up to a pistol. But you don't want to have to pull that and use it unless, right, you feel that threatened. So again, practicing saying the words, sounding gruff and mean. That's not the way we want to live. I know that. It's bullshit. Nobody has fun with that except with your friends. Nobody likes having to be that way. But this is now the world we live in. Like I said, the world that we live in is nonviolent. It's civilized. Now you've got these fucking Muslims everywhere coming in and taking that peace from us. Our governments are violating our rights and taking our peace from us. And so we have to, once again, learn to be violent. Not uncivilized, but learn to use violence to reacquire our civilization. Absolutely reacquire it. Right? Just the Irish are waking the fuck up. The Scots are definitely waking up. The Vikings up north in Scandinavia, Iceland, they need to wake the hell up. And slowly they are. But if you don't wake up fast enough, you're going to have someone putting a boot to your fucking head. Now, Mr. Hunter from Scotland, speaking of Scotland, has done a $10 £10 super chat donation. He says, John, we shall not be defeated by the left woke communists. Well, God bless you, man. I'm glad that you think that way. He says, they forgot that the pendulum always swings back to the right in order to create a center of equilibrium. Think smart, every soul. Yeah, well, this is what happens, right? The world, the civilized Christian world, swung way over to peace and leave us alone and everything will be fine. And people who wanted to use that and say, oh, everyone's happy, everyone's got a full belly, everyone's calm, everyone is peaceful. That means, well, to a barbarian, an evil bastard, right? A culture of corruption will see civilization not as civilized, but as weak. And so they'll attack, right? And they want to push that pendulum of freedom to the other side, which is the opposite of freedom, a tyrannical, violent, abusive system. And we're all the way there now. It's just how long will we spend here? And how much more abusive could it get swinging that direction? But a pendulum, even with a big push, can only go so far. And it will come back. And it has to come back. Evil, like, now here's another concept, another philosophy that I hear discussed quite a bit, Bob, and everyone, is they're like, how can evil do all the things it's done and get away with it, right? I'm like, well, evil always loses. They're like, what do you mean? Look at what's going on. Evil's everywhere. I'm like, yeah. But if evil always wins and good is stupid and good is dumb and good is weak and good is easy to push over and good is easy to dominate, then why wasn't humanity, all of the world, Europe, Asia, Southeast Asia, all of the Americas, why weren't they dominated by evil 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago? Why weren't they brought under the control of evil and held there? Why is it that this country and then that country and this other country obtained various levels of freedom and liberty and the establishment of rights and property ownership and wealth and economic systems of growth? How did all that happen if evil is so all-powerful and controlling? It's because evil fails. And once again, I'll point right at the Roman Empire. They controlled the entire Mediterranean world, as far north as Hadrian's Wall, right? The border between England and Scotland. They went as far as, well, Persia. They made it to the Iranian border, right? They made it south all the way into Egypt and the Upper Nile, and then, of course, all around the Mediterranean. They controlled, well, Europe, Spain, Portugal, France, the areas that are now known by those countries' names, parts of Germany, until they ran into the really nasty Celts there. They ran into the nasty Celts, the Scots, Ireland. Right? These people fought because they just loved it. They're fucking crazed Celts. Anyways, they controlled the world, the known world, 2,000 years ago. Why didn't they continue? Why didn't they keep expanding? Why didn't their knowledge, this incredible ability to develop infrastructure, their roads, their road and highway system had mile markers everywhere. They knew exactly how long it took to get from any place to any place in the entire Roman Empire. Their aqueducts are still visible and being used in many cases today, moving water from high places all the way down into Italy and Rome, transporting water, infrastructure, right? Transportation, administration of the economy, of government, of people, everything. They didn't have electricity, right? They didn't have nuclear submarines, but they had incredible technology. They had a currency, a monetary system, but it was all destroyed by corruption, by evil. They failed, absolutely, themselves. They had no one to blame because evil cannot stand. Evil destroys. It'll destroy itself. The same way, and I'm going to just go right back to this, the same way these liberal fucks are killing themselves. They're so hell-bent on destroying Western civilization, Christianity, morality, and decency that they'll go so far as to destroy themselves in an effort to prove that's how you do it. They're cutting their dicks off. Women are cutting off their breasts, taking drugs that destroy themselves in an effort to try and get all of us to destroy ourselves. Well, they're crazy as fuck. All right. And at the end of the show, it's good to see Blue Cord Devil in the house with a $50 super chat donation. And that gets the scotch right here. 18-year single malt Glenfiddich Scotch whiskey. And I want to thank you, Blue Cord Devil, for supporting the channel the way you do, the way you all do, by being here live every week, sharing information, opinions, thoughts, etc. Salut, Prost, cheers, God bless, and Semper Fi. May the wings of liberty never lose a feather, to quote Jack Burton. So Blue Cord Devil says, peace and prayers, John, Jolene, Uman, and everyone else. Watch your six. Stay calm. Stay armed. While you are taking care of your preps, don't forget to live your lives. I jumped out of a perfectly good plane last week. Had a blast. Oh, man, that's great. Jumped out of a perfectly good airplane, and you lived to tell the tale. That is great. I'm glad you lived, man. I'm glad you lived. Wow. Very interesting stuff. See, Democrats would jump out of the plane without a parachute, telling you that's how you live your life. You know, live hard, right? Don't worry, you don't need a parachute. Don't worry, communism doesn't need a parachute, right? There you go. Well, by the way, speaking of not wearing a parachute when you jump out of an airplane, a recent poll has found that 1/3 of all Democrats identify, they claim to be members of the DSA, the Democrat Socialists of America, communists. So now Democrats, look, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, every Democrat in America was like, I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist. No, we're Democrats. Now, here we are, 2 generations later, and Democrats literally are saying we're communists. So 1/3, right, of Democrats are DSA members. That means they support the Democrat Socialists of America, right? A communist evolved wing of Democrats who push strongly and progressively towards communism and anti-Americanism. We can't coexist with these people, folks. There's that word, coexist again, Blue Cord. We can't coexist with communists, period. Everything that the communists believe, Karl Marx, that fine Jewish, whatever the hell he was, Brit, his Communist Manifesto is the opposite of the U.S. Constitution. This document, the U.S. Constitution, or the Constitution for these United States, as it was originally drafted and passed, the Constitution for these United States of America, was maybe 15, 20 years older than Karl Marx and his Communist Manifesto. The two documents are opposites. We cannot coexist. A fight to the death is going to be required at some point. Both ideas can't exist in the same country. So one side or the other is going to have to die. The question I have for you is, will you surrender to communism, the Democratic Socialists of America, the anti-American, anti-Christian, anti-European, anti-white, whatever you want to call it? Are you going to surrender to them? Or will you get prepared, get the items that you need, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and choose to fight these evil pricks? Choice is yours. My recommendation, get prepared now because, well, the fight is going to come. The fight is going to come. We got Eric's checking in with a $20 super chat. He says, John, What is the ultimate goal of this orchestrated third world migration in your view? I will answer that very directly. Is there a desire to eliminate sovereign nation states and cultures? Is a one world government in the cards? Big topic, I know. Eric's, I appreciate the great super chat donation. And, well, it is orchestrated. This is not accidental. This is not au naturel. This isn't just what human beings do. People are being paid. They're being paid for. They're being transported. They're being sent. And they are specifically selected because they are, well, young, militant men who have a religious, fundamental, cultural belief in their world that is being transported into our world. It is very orchestrated. The ultimate goal is to destroy our culture, our traditions, our law, and our shared. Because all of Europe, North America, and most of the world shares this concept of civilized behavior and respect for others. The people being imported, these migrants, they're fucking criminals leaving their countries and being transported to ours to destroy us. That is the ultimate goal, is to destroy our country, to allow those in charge to replace our system of government with their system of control. So you say, is there a desire to eliminate sovereign nation states and cultures? Yes, absolutely. That is their ultimate goal, is to replace it with their belief system, their economic system, their religious system. That is their ultimate goal, is to take control of everything, take away everything that we had, and leave us with, well, nothing, and we'll like it, says Klaus Schwab. Is a one world government in the cards? The one world government, right? That idea, that concept, a one world government. It doesn't mean, I used to believe it meant there was going to be a government that the whole world voted for. We have one big world election, and there's a world headquarters and a world capital, and we all send our people there to vote for us in a one world democratic system. That's not what they want. No, they want the world chopped up into pieces, and various families will have various territories, various what used to be nations, we'll just call it geographic regions, that they control. So family X controls Australia. Family Y controls South America. And I mean family as in family, people who are related to each other. Say the Trumps get to control North America. Canada, Mexico, Greenland is all given to the Trump family. And then Europe is controlled by this other family, and Russia and China, right? This is what they want. They don't want one world government. They want a one world government system, meaning a wealthy billionaire, trillionaire family system, an organized mafia, if you will, a crime syndicate that controls every geographic region, however big, however small. And of course, they want us to have a feeling of some kind of control, some local politician, some local appointed fucking bureaucrat does the administration on a local level. So you commit a crime or I commit a crime, a local policeman comes and arrests me. Of course, he's got a fucking turban on his head and a beard and a huge hatred for white guys, and he'll arrest me. They'll take me to jail. They'll charge me with whatever crimes they want, but it doesn't matter. They just want to lock me up or kill me or make an example out of me. But whatever I did that they don't want done, right? The people at the very top, all they say to the lower administrators is dominate, control, stop everyone, take all their wealth, etc. Because all the wealth belongs to the people at the top. I think we already have a flavor for that already, that the people at the top cannot be held accountable to law. Their crimes will not be prosecuted. Their wealth is theirs to keep forever. Meanwhile, all of us people down here are brought down to this low level where we're controlled at the local level by local scumbags and local corruption. And those local leaders are held responsible by a larger regional leader, and they're all held responsible to these crime syndicate, Illuminati, satanic, dominating bastards at the very top. That's what I see. Now here we've got Bob Hunter checking in. I think this is number 5 with a £2 concluding super chat donation. He says, thanks for being you, John, and thanks to Donald. There it is. Thank you very much, Mr. Hunter. You and Puss, enjoy. I know it's late over there. It's 5 hours on top of 8 o'clock Eastern. So it's, folks, he's here at 1 a.m. Thank you, Big Bob. I appreciate everything. A lot of topics I didn't get to. But hey, there's always tomorrow. And tomorrow I plan on being on with you here live. Well, it's kind of live. 0 dark 30 live while no one's alive. Folks, no matter where you're at in the world, freedom is worth fighting for. Your personal liberties, your sovereign nations are worth fighting for. Don't give up on what you believe to be right. Right? It's time to fight politically. Don't break any laws, but win back your country. Win back your freedom. Right? God bless. Semper Fi.